Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be lining Manchester United up. Now, I did a video this week about how Pochettino would line Manchester United up, and people took that as a Poch in, Ole out video. Actually, it showed the pros and cons of Poch and how much development he would need to bring to Manchester United to get his style of play. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the current incumbent of the Manchester United manager's role. I believe that is the right position for him at the moment and in the near future. And if he wants to stay there, then I think longer term, there are issues in relation to how he's playing at the moment. That's not rocket science, everybody. It really isn't. And we'll get into why Solskjaer's had problems and why he's been successful and how he should be lining up with the personnel that he's got. Now, just a little bit of a reminder, we are sponsored by the Flick app. Please download it, links in the video description. You can chat about United 24/7 in the chat groups there. There's polls and quizzes. Also today, I'm doing my 24-hour charity stream, which is on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. So we're streaming all day. We're doing a watch-along for France versus Portugal. There's a horror game I'm going to be playing. We're playing Among Us with Beth and Drawty and Flex and me and Xander, which will be good fun. FIFA, chat, everything. So get yourself over to Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, for the charity stream as well when you've watched this. Link is in the video description. But let me just say, let's start off with Solskjaer then. Now, the team on the right-hand side is the team that he played against Everton. Now, what I've said many a time, and if I grab hold of my ball here, Manchester United, this is basically average positions for the Everton game. And if you look at United under Solskjaer this season, and we're going to look at what he's done well and what he's not done well, but this is the team I think that he's going to stick with longer term. Whether it's Juan Mata out on that right-hand position there, Rashford on the left, Bruno, Martial. I think those three positions are nailed on. Rashford, Bruno and Martial. This position I think needs to change. These two are up for grabs, but not in Ole's mind. And obviously we know that Luke Shaw is going to come out of the team for Telles, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that is basically average positions for Manchester United players against Everton. And what is it I'm constantly talking about? The issue at Man United are these two. The centre-backs causes massive problems because they're vulnerable to the ball in behind here. In fact, they're not vulnerable to the ball in behind in this system because look at the positions of Lindelof and Maguire quite deep. It would not be unusual to look at a team, say, maybe a Man City, maybe a Liverpool, and see that their centre-backs are up here as an average position. But with United, they're going to be closer to the edge of the box because they're susceptible to the ball over the top, so they play deeper. But also, they're also protected by these two. By Fred, who actually was a little bit forward on his average position compared to, well, it wasn't Matic, it was McTominay. What's going on there? It wasn't Matic, it was McTominay. It was McTominay who played. So McTominay and Fred were the midfield too, and McTominay played a little bit deeper, but to that right-hand side. And they are shielding. If I grab the ball, these two here are shielding those two there. And this, to me, is the issue that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to solve. And he might not be able to solve it this season. But look at that. You're going to get a bit of width from Luke Shaw and Telles. You're going to get a little bit of width from Wan-Bissaka. But ultimately, you've got 6 players. Over half your team is doing a defensive role. And that is where Manchester United at the moment have got a problem. Now, Fred and McTominay, McFred, whatever you want to call it, they're doing a good job. They are doing a good job. There's no denying they're doing a good job. But are they doing a job befitting of Manchester United? And the question is there, and the answer for me is no. Manchester United are a team that should be taking risks. Manchester United are a team that should be entertaining. And at the moment, I don't think we're really capable of beating a team 3 or 4-0. Now, that sounds ridiculous because we did beat Newcastle convincingly, but we weren't playing this system. We did beat Leipzig convincingly, but we weren't playing this system. Against Everton, we probably should have been in a better position than 2-1 with a minute to go. In fact, they had a very good chance. They could have made it 2-2. We scored on the break. What we're going to be in for, if he sticks with this system, is more of the Everton game. Where, yeah, we deserve to win. Yeah, we played quite well. But we're not going to take the game away from people. It's going to be very tight. Now, Solskjaer's got a decision to make. How does he play? How should he play? How does he develop from the Everton result that was good over the next few weeks? Because I think this system here will get him a result against West Brom, probably get him a result against Southampton and maybe West Ham, might get him a result against Man City. But is that a dangerous thing for Manchester United and Manchester United fans and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if this system becomes successful? Because ultimately, it's papering the cracks. It's papering this crack. There's a massive crack here between these two centre-backs. They don't complement each other. They're not title-winning centre-backs. They lack pace. They don't have synergy. They're not a complementary centre-back pairing. Both good individually, but as a pairing, they've got their weaknesses. So we're papering the cracks with these two. And that, if we're successful, which I want us to be, will continue. And I expect we're going to see this. But there are tweaks to this system that I would like to see, and I think many of us would like to see as well. For one, I think Mata needs to go to the bench and Donny van der Beek needs to come here. And straight away, you've got a player in Van der Beek who will work back and assist with Wan-Bissaka. Mata just doesn't have the pace to do that. We saw Digne getting in here plenty of times. Now, I know some people said Mata played well against Everton. Well, why was Digne constantly in this position free then? Because Mata wasn't tracking back enough. Van der Beek is young enough, fit enough, and intelligent enough to be able to keep doing that and going forward. And also going forward, I think you've got a good front four then. Martial needs to improve, we know. He's not played a lot of football. Rashford has been hot and cold. Bruno's been fantastic. Get Van der Beek in there and you've got balance across those four positions if Ollie wants to stick with this system. Now in the midfield too, I mean look, Luke Shaw's coming out. We know that's going to happen. Luke Shaw's going to come out and Telles is going to come in, which will give us more attacking capability down the left-hand side with Telles, but may make us more vulnerable defensively, which means he will stick further with this. Are those two the right midfield too? I mean, look, at the end of the day, you could easily take McTominay out. You could play Matic. I don't think anybody would really have a massive issue with that. Bring Matic in. You can do that. But I don't actually really mind that much with it being Scott McTominay. That system is going to work, and I think the tweak of Van der Beek for Mata makes that system better, and I think that's what we're going to see with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But that's not what we're going to see, is not necessarily how he should play. I think Manchester United need to progress. I think this system will ultimately sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the longer term. I can't see it not doing anything else. Do you think that team there is good enough for Manchester United to get into the top four? Probably, just about. But I don't think it's going to be where it should be. And let's not forget, this season is wide open. You know, Liverpool are decimated. Man City will remain inconsistent. Chelsea, are they going to go on an amazing run? Spurs, you know, there is an opportunity to do better than third place. That team, for me, can't do it. Defensively, we've got to focus on the defence, and we're looking to hit teams on the break. We did this last year. There's meant to be an evolution. And the interesting thing is, if we look back at the success of last season and look at how it was done, then, well, Bruno was playing here. McTominay wasn't playing, so you can come out. Matic was playing, and Matic was playing there. Fred, you were not playing, and Paul Pogba was. So where are you, Paul? Come on down, Paul. So Pogba was playing. Pogba was actually, I think Pogba played to the right, didn't he? And Bruno played to the left. It matters not. It matters not. But we definitely had Rashford, Martial, and obviously we didn't have Donny van der Beek. Let's take you to the bench, Donny, and put Mason Greenwood there. And it was Luke Shaw over Telles, which we will just we'll just overlay you for the moment. And that was the team that went from, you know, not in the top four to being third place. That was how we did it. So that is a very different team to the team I've just showed you there. Is this the team that you would like to see? Is this the team that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should go back to? And I actually think no. I think it was a very successful team, and it did work really well. And you had Pogba and Bruno, and they proved that they can play together. And you had Matic holding the midfield. But why has that failed this season? And there's numerous reasons. It's not an impossibility to go back to that team. And Bruno and Pogba can definitely play together. I don't know why people think that they can't. We were not in the top four in lockdown. We came out of the lockdown. 6 weeks later, we were third. We won a lot of games. We did. And it did work. It worked. But why did it start to go wrong? Because teams started to figure us out. And what they realised is that Rashford had stopped doing the work rate backwards. He doesn't seem to do it as much as he used to. Greenwood's not really made to do the work backwards either. And that makes them redundant defensively. This season as well, Paul Pogba is nowhere near fit. So straight away, you've got Rashford and Greenwood who don't track back enough to help out their fullbacks. And you've got Paul Pogba who's become a bit of a luxury because of his fitness issues. That's why this system doesn't work. What I would have liked to have seen is a return to this system with maybe that. Because Donny van der Beek can run and run. Maybe that would have worked. But then you've still got the issue of Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. And as we know, Mason Greenwood struggled this season. So, look, Van der Beek could come in and do the Pogba role. He could probably do the Mason Greenwood role. But he can't do both. And we don't have a player that can do both. Because if you drop Fred or McTominay there, you don't get the creativity you need. Which is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to revert to that 4-2-3-1 situation that he's got. And this system has died, even though it was the one that has been the most successful. And that system I've got for you there, the 4-3-3, this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best formation. This was the formation he used in the 4-3-3 when he first came to the club, where you had Jesse Lingard in this role, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial. You had Paul Pogba in the Bruno role, and you had Ander Herrera in this role with Matic. And it worked really well, and we went on a fantastic run for 3 months. But again, the 4-3-3 worked very well after lockdown till the end of the season when it took us into third place. So it's been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best formation twice in 2 years, quite far apart. So he could go back to it. Why has he not gone back to it? For the reasons I've just said there. Pogba has fallen away fitness-wise. Greenwood has had his struggles and can't cover the defensive work when they bomb on with their fullbacks. I think this is the system. This is the system we would have used if we'd bought Jadon Sancho and a centre-back. Because what you can't forget is Matic can't cover these two on his own. And that's why we're playing two centre defensive midfielders. He can't do it on his own. And these two have become more and more of a liability the longer the time has passed since last summer, really. They were a problem after the summer. If you remember that Spurs game, the first game back after lockdown, where Bergwijn just went between the two of them like they weren't there. They're a problem. And Ollie realises they're a problem. And whether we like it or not, he realises they're a problem. And that's why he puts two CDMs in front of them, which is overkill. And it's something that Van Gaal got criticised for. It's something that Mourinho got criticised for. This isn't the United way. Why are we playing two CDMs at Old Trafford? We're doing it with Ollie. We're doing it with Ollie because those centre-backs are vulnerable. And yet there is this story that gets put out there that Victor and Harry are doing a great job. Individually, they're good centre-backs. Collectively, they're an issue, and that's why we're playing two centre defensive midfielders. So could he go back to that? He could have gone back to that. He could have continued with that this season if you'd brought in a fast centre-back to play with Maguire here or a fast centre-back to play with Lindelof there. But he hasn't got that. He's got two centre-backs that are vulnerable and play deep. So you've got to play two CDMs at the moment. He also didn't get Jadon Sancho in this role. So the 4-3-3, which I think is the ideal formation for Ollie, this is why the transfer window failed him. Because his system, if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would sit there with Ed Woodward and I would say, I've been very successful at this club twice. I've been inconsistent, but I've been very successful twice. On one occasion, it was when I first came in and you gave me the job and I played a 4-3-3 like that one. On another occasion, you gave me Bruno Fernandes and I took us from 14 points off top four to third playing that system. This season, I can't play that system. I don't have the players to do it. Paul Pogba's blown, Mason Greenwood is struggling, but ultimately I need a winger. I need a right winger and I need a centre-back to play that system. You're forcing me to not play the way I want to play. And that's very, very important when you think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So we can't play this system, even though I would argue it's our best system. He hasn't got the players to play it, which is why he goes to that 4-2-3-1 that we were discussing before. Now, the other option really is, and this is how I would play if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I still believe in the system I'm about to show you because I think it utilises the best areas of our squad. And I think it's been used less than the 5-3-2, which no one likes. And it's been used less than the 4-2-3-1, which we used against Everton, which no one likes because it's got the two centre defensive midfielders in front of the defenders. This system I'm about to show you is the way I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should play. So I would obviously you're going to keep those two centre-backs. He's not going to play Twansebe, but you've got to have an element of realism. As we know, Luke Shaw is not going to be playing, so it'll be Tellez at left-back. Now, Matic, for me, plays in this role because when you're just playing one CDM, McTominay can't do it on his own, Fred can't do it on his own, Matic is the best player to do it on his own. This role is not for you. This role is for me where Fred plays better than anybody as the side right box-to-box midfielder. Fantastic in that role. You could play him to the left if you wanted to, but he's absolutely fantastic in that role. Move Bruno. Van der Beek, I mean, look, actually, I would actually probably do that. because one's left-footed and one's right-footed. So I'd probably do that. Fred as the left side, Donny as the right-hand side, Pogba there. And as you can see, it's the triangle. The triangle worked well, or the diamond, sorry, worked fantastically well against RB Leipzig, who are without question one of the best coach sides in Europe. They've got a fantastic coach who analyses the game. And, you know, I think the scoreline flattered us against Leipzig. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a thrashing, even though it was. There was a scoreline they were chasing, and they tried to get it, and we obliterated them in the last half an hour when Bruno and Rashford came on. It worked fantastically well. And it worked fantastically well because if they had the ball here, Donny comes across, the diamond comes across. And that's what we did so well against Leipzig. You know, the ball goes over to this area. You know, Fred comes across, Matic comes across, Van der Beek and Bruno. And the diamond retains its shape. And it works really, really well. It didn't work well against Arsenal. And that was the death of the diamond. Because what we did against Arsenal is instead of having Matic and Fred in the box-to-box role, we moved Fred here and we brought McTominay into... Where's McTominay? Scott, where are you? We brought McTominay into this role. So we had Fred in this holding role, which he can't do, and McTominay in the box-to-box role, which he can't do. The success of the diamond is not over at all. It still retains its value. It just needs to be used correctly. And I feel that it's died a death because that Everton performance has overshadowed it. But if you put the right people in the diamond, and let's not forget, in those diamonds against RB Leipzig and Arsenal, Paul Pogba played. Well, Paul Pogba's nowhere near fit enough to play it. So for me, that diamond retains its value if it's Matic, Van der Beek, Fred and Bruno. Bruno needs the licence to be playing further forward. Fred is going to support back into this area and help out Matic anyway when we haven't got the ball. 100% he's going to do that. And Van der Beek will do it as well. So you've got a defensive shield when you need it. And then you've got two players up front in Rashford and Martial, which I think this is really important. If we play with a 3 up front, which is what we effectively do in the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, beyond Greenwood and Cavani, who have we got? So if you play 3 forwards, you've only got one substitute. We didn't bring Sancho in. We haven't got depth in those positions. So for me, this is still the formation that Manchester United should be using. And it's the formation that would get the best out of us. I just think it needs a little bit more time than we blasted RB Leipzig. It didn't work so well against Arsenal. Let's bin it. That, to me, shows a level of immaturity from a coaching setup. That our best result this season is RB Leipzig. This is a brand new system. We haven't really used it. We used it against Everton last season and it didn't really work. The personnel wasn't right. It didn't work against Arsenal because the personnel wasn't right. With the right personnel, it works really well. And it worked very well against RB Leipzig. And I really believe he needs to go back to it. Because the reason you go back to it is you get more players going forward. If you think about the 4-2-3-1 that we were just talking about, around this area, you've got 6 defenders because you've got another defensive midfielder in here and a back 4. In this system, I've just made my ball small. I want a bigger ball. In this system, you got 3 forwards and 2 supplementing, plus your fullbacks getting forward as well. So it's in a very attacking system, but it also can be very defensive with these 2 dropping back as well. So for me, I think the diamond is the way to go. Do I think he's going to do it? No. But I definitely think it's the way to go because you utilise your strong areas. We've got a lot of good midfielders and only having 2 forwards means that we've got both Greenwood and Cavani to back those 2 forwards up. It gives a real good balance to the team. It means that if you want to play in the Champions League and rest Martial and Rashford, you can play Greenwood and Cavani. It means that Paul Pogba's got an opportunity to get back into the team because he can play some of these positions. It means McTominay can play some of these positions. It means Mata can play some of these positions. Jesse Lingard can play some of these positions. It gives us more balance. But what I suspect we're going to see with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, unfortunately, is instead of us playing this system and actually building something. And look, as I said, this isn't the team that he wants to play. No way. He wants to play the 4-3-3. He didn't get delivered the players to do it. I understand why he's changed it. But instead of changing the 4-3-3 to the 4-2-3-1, in my way, he would be playing this system. And I think it would work really, really well, especially with the width that Telles is going to provide over the next few weeks with no Luke Shaw, which is really, really important. And I also think that with Telles at left back, you really, really do need someone like a Fred who's very energetic and is going to help him out as well. Because Harry Maguire's not particularly quite quick to cover the mistakes that Telles could make by being forward. So having Fred there is very, very important. But what we will see to cover that is we will see Fred, and we won't see Matic, we'll see McTominay playing in this role over here. We might see Donny van der Beek. We might not. We might see Donny van der Beek. We'll see Marcus Rashford moved over to here, and we'll see Martial there. And I think that's what we're going to see. Which again, as I said, it's a very defensive system with 6 people back and 2 centre defensive midfielders sat in front of that. And somewhat a disparity between the two. Whereas the Diamond obviously bridges. You've got your 2 centre-backs, takes the ball to Matic, you've got Fred and Van der Beek, you've got Bruno, and then you've got your 2 forwards. In this system, you've got your 6 back, you've got your 4 forward, and what's the bridge between the 2? All right, Fred will wander forward a little bit, but you are what you are. This system here is basically defence and attack. You defend and you break. With the Diamond, you bridge the gap far better. The ball moves through the triangles to the attack much more smoothly. And I would suggest that, we might not see Telles getting forward as much in this system. But I think this is the system that Ollie's going to go with here. I think the Diamond's the one to go with. I think the 4-3-3 would be nice to go with, but he just doesn't have the players to do it. But ultimately, my message would be go with the Diamond and utilise the fact that we've got enough players in the midfield and the attack to make the Diamond work. Don't turn your back on the Diamond because of because of Arsenal. Go back to it because of RB Leipzig. It was the best we've played under Ollie in a long, long time. And it worked. And it worked really, really well. And the players worked well in that system. And I think that the decisions Ollie's going to make over the next few weeks are probably going to go with that team because it worked against Everton. But what we're going to see with that team is not conceding many goals and tight games. I think with Leipzig, the Diamond, we will probably concede more goals, but we'll probably score more goals as well. But most important of all, that article from the Manchester Evening News about Pochettino that was leaked from the club is going to cause a divide. People are waiting for Solskjaer to slip. I can't change it. You can't change it. They are. And if he's going to slip, if he slips in this system, he's going to get more criticism. If he builds a vision for the future and slips, he's going to get more more people, more sympathy from the fans. As soon as this system loses, everyone's going to say what it is, a defensive system looking to hit on the break. So he's basically got to win every game with that. But then the more games he wins with that, the more he thinks it's the solution. It's a double-edged sword, which is why I want him to change from this to go to the Diamond, because that is evolution. That is a vision. And if it works, it's an exciting vision. If this one works, it's nothing new. And it becomes a problem because thinking that playing 2 centre defensive midfielders in front of those 2 centre-backs, that's not a title-winning side. That's not a Manchester United side. So look, get your comments in below. Lots discussed in there. I'm sure you've got a lot of opinions yourself. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. And please get over to the charity stream. I've dropped the link in the video description. We're out there all day. We're going to have a bit of fun among us with the United Standers. You can get involved as well. We're going to do France versus Portugal watch along, Bruno versus Martial all day, raising money. Get over there and join in. Thanks everyone for watching, and make sure you download the Flick app as well. I'll speak to you on the next one.